there's nothing along those beaches. 25 kilometers of undeveloped beach.
This is Cornelia Dean for the New York Times, and this pristine coastline is in Miches, on the eastern shore of the Dominican Republic. But unfortunately, idyllic scenery is not the whole story here. In contrast to developed areas of the country, here the roads are bad, the electricity's erratic, the water's dirty, and many people live in poverty. Miches is waiting for its future. But what kind of future will it be? An unusual collaboration of government leaders, local residents, and Columbia University researchers is working to shape it. I recently traveled to Miches with Donald Melnick, who directs the Columbia University Center for Environment, Economy, and Society.
And the people of Miches came to the government for a specific reason. Down the road, about 100 kilometers, about 60 miles down the road, was an enormous hotel complex. And what they were afraid of is it was moving down the coast toward them.
What they are afraid of is the kind of development that prevails in much of the Caribbean: high-impact, all-inclusive, foreign-owned resorts. What they hope for instead is low-key, nature-based, environmentally sustainable tourism facilities they will own and operate themselves. They took this hope to President Leonel Fernandez, and he recruited Dr. Melnick's team to work with them.
So they said something that I found very poignant the first time I met with them. They said, you know, we are poor, which is true, but Miches is ours. What we're afraid of is that we will still be poor and Miches will no longer be ours.
Miches sits in a basin, ringed by lush mountains. Its town square is ripe for cafes and shops. Offshore, dolphins swim. But the people here have struggled for centuries to make a living. Years of deforestation and farming have damaged the Miches watershed, and therefore the beach. The water these boys are swimming in is filthy. Trash litters the shore.
All of the rain that hits on the northern slopes of this range will obviously drain downhill, and draining downhill is running north toward the ocean.
Clean water is the team's initial focus, everything from controlling agricultural runoff to protecting offshore reefs from pollution that threatens fish stocks. On this street, sanitation was limited to chamber pots people emptied into the sea. Now, thanks to the project, there are latrines. Eventually, development here may look like low-impact resorts in St. John in the Virgin Islands, where visitors stay in platform tents. Or it may be a day trip destination for tourists at resorts down the coast, if people here hold out against big-time developers. A few years ago, some residents had begun to sell out.
In the downtown area of Miches, you'll see some houses being redone, going from 1 floor to 2 floors, very nicely painted, and there might be an SUV out front, and those are people who got money for their land.
But for now, the absence of good road access to Miches and the weakened global economy have given the project some time. For the New York Times, this is Cornelia Dean.